southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting or participate in the public hearing may do so in the following manner. Again, www.southboroughtown, all one word, .com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. First item on the agenda is a master plan committee update. Mrs. Luttrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Master Plan Committee will be meeting again on February 10th. At our last meeting on January 13th, we mostly finalized all our goals and recommendations, and we committee members volunteered or were volunteered to start drafting chapters. So hopefully on February 10th, we'll start looking at some chapter drafts, moving right along. And with
Excellent.
town meeting being moved up, we may even have a draft by town meeting.
That's great. Anything more?
That's
I'd
it.
like to just point out again that Sarah facilitates those master plan meetings for the Zoom environment.
Any questions or comments? Next item on the agenda. And we're going to ask the town planner to give us the background and update on this because this is a little bit different. It's the Fay School. It's a discussion item. Fay School Center for Creativity and Design, CCD edition. So Karina, if we remember, we briefly brought this up at our last meeting, and the board was interested in inviting Fay School in to explain what they want to do, and then get some feedback from the board relative to its if the site plan, if it triggers site plan. So I'll let you give us an update.
Okay. Sarah, I see you had Regan join. She's with Beals and Thomas. I think we also have an architect from Eck McNeely in the participant list.
Yep.
Regan, do you want him on the panel already?
Yes, please. We also have Diane Byrne from Fay School. I don't know if she can be promoted, as well as Jason Bajan.
All righty.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
So while you're doing that, back in November of 2020, late November, early December, Regan approached the town, the building commissioner, and the planning department with some information about a renovation project to the Root building, where they have a single story section and they're going to build up vertically above that with some moving around of classrooms and offices and getting rid of some things and moving other stuff around. So we thought it was best if they came before the planning board so that they could explain their project a little bit more. I asked for some clarity so that the planning board could see what was going on there and then, see that it may not require a site plan approval based on feedback that we received from the building commissioner and also from Beals and Thomas's architect who's working on the project for Fay School. Regan did provide a presentation, a short kind of PowerPoint, which illustrates the project. So I guess if it's all right with you, Don, we could have Regan share that presentation.
Yes, let's see it.
I had a revised presentation just with a couple of the slides swapped. Is it okay if I present that one instead of the one that I presented?
we want you to present the best one you have.
All right, then give me one moment. Let's see if I can do this screen share. Let's see, share screen, I think here. Okay, can everyone see that? We're good? Okay.
Good.
All right, great. So thank you, Karina. So again, my name is Regan Harold. Andriola. I just got married. Ugh. I was hoping I wouldn't make that mistake. Regan Andriola, associate with Beals and Thomas and a senior landscape architect here on behalf of the Faith School. And here with me tonight, as we mentioned, Jeremiah Eck, who is the project architect from Eck McNeely. We also have Jason Bajan, who's the Faith School's consulting project manager from CSL Consulting. And we also have Diane Byrne, who's Faith School's director of finance and operations. And again, as Karina mentioned, over the last couple months, we have been in communication with her, as well as Lori Lavoli, your building commissioner and zoning enforcement officer, regarding the CCD project. And although, it's our assumption that the project does not meet any of the thresholds required for site plan approval as outlined in the zoning bylaw, we did still want to be able to come here today and present it to you. Faith School's always wanted to be a good neighbor and make sure that the town and the public is aware of what they're planning there. So with that being said, I will move forward. So
Can I just interject one thing? I also failed to mention that we did receive a letter from you with an attachment from Jeremiah Eck, your architect, regarding what is proposed there. And Dawn, if you'd like me to read that, or I could read it at the end of the presentation.
Oh, read it now. Is that the one we looked at this afternoon?
Yes.
Read it now.
It's brief, but it's to the point, and it might help lead into what Regan's going to display.
Okay.
The letter is from Eck McNeely Architects, Jeremiah Eck, who's on the panel here this evening, December 15th, 2020, Center of Creativity and Design. Proposed renovation and second story addition to the Faith School boot building will be called the Center for Creativity and Design, or CCD. This is a replacement and upgrade to an existing digital design program and recognizes the fact that computer-aided design integration has become an increasingly large part of the Faith curriculum. The total project area is 8,978 square feet, consisting of 3,490 square feet of renovated first floor, 1,527 square feet of renovated second floor, and 3,961 square feet of new second floor addition. The existing digital program classroom spaces over a gymnasium. The existing digital program classroom spaces over a gymnasium will be turned back into storage spaces, resulting in a net loss of one classroom and a net gain of 2 new offices. The existing large meeting space on the first floor of the root building will also be eliminated as part of the new design. There will be no increase in faculty, staff, or students as a result of the upgraded program. And again, that's Jeremiah Eck on behalf of Faith School. Thanks.
Okay, you're on, Regan.
all right, thank you, Karina. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, so this is an aerial view of the campus. I think most people are probably pretty familiar with it. This is the root building, which is right in the center of campus. And then you have the Harlow Gymnasium over here. The root building is 2 stories, but as many may know, the campus is very steep through the middle. So this is kind of a lower level campus down here by the primary school, this drop off. And then there's, this is an upper level. So the root building, you enter it from a lower level down here or an upper level at the center of the campus here. Right here, this bump out is currently only a single story. So what you're looking at here is the roof of the lower first story. And so that is essentially where the addition is going to be going, right in this same footprint. Move on. Now, this is basically, the same information that Karina just read from the email, but I do want to, be able to, you can see the numbers here, which might help. So it is internal renovation to portions of the root building. And the primary reason we're here is the second story addition to the root building. And it's known as the Center for Creativity and Design, or CCD. And again, this is a program that's becoming, more important or, more popular in FACE curriculum, the digital design and computer-aided design, CAD. So it's creating a new space for this program. The total project area, nearly 9,000 square feet, but of that, 3,500 or so is renovated first floor, about 1,500 renovations on the second floor, and then just shy of 4,000 square feet of the new addition that's on that bump out that I showed. Project results in no increase in classrooms. There's actually a net loss of classroom just because of the shuffling of internal spaces. And then we do have a net gain of 2 offices, although there's no increase in faculty or staff, and also no increase in students as a result of the program. So sorry to be redundant there, but just wanted to, sometimes it's easier to see the numbers in front of your face too than just hear them. And obviously because there's no increase in staff, faculty, or students, there is no anticipated increase in parking demand, and therefore no increase in parking requirements that we're providing. So the next slide, I'm actually going to hand it over to Jeremiah so he can talk through the architecture and some of the details of the internal upgrades. So Jeremiah.
Thank you, Reagan. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Thank you, Reagan. Again, thank you all for taking the time to visit this project with us this evening. I don't want to go into too much detail, but just to say the shape of the building, which is circular, actually exists from a building that was built in, I believe, about 20 years ago. And that currently on the first floor is a large meeting room. On the second floor is a terrace that actually isn't used that much, and part of the reason this project actually came to fruition. So the first floor would be a new classroom, 2 new classrooms. You can see that on the left. And then a connection to the existing root building on the left as well. The second floor is also 2 new classrooms, part of which is in the existing building and part of which is in the new addition. In addition, there's some renovations to the lower school offices on the upper left-hand corner. Next slide, please. This is a view of the existing building from Middle Road. And you can see in the distance the circular shaped single-story building, which is right now a large meeting space. Next slide. This is a little closer up, the same view, but closer up. You can see again the existing built 1-story building and the entrance to the root building on the left. Next slide. This is the heart of the matter. This is our proposal, and you can see in this slide the 2nd-story addition, which incorporates not only a new classroom but a double height space in one of the classrooms off the first floor. Next slide. This is from somewhat the upper campus. This is the current entrance to the lower school offices. Next slide. And this is what's proposed that incorporates that into the new 2-story building around on the other side. So it's really a combination of 4 classrooms and some new offices for the lower school. And I won't go through the numbers again because we just did that. In brick, basically to match the existing root building with white trim. We're trying to not only say something about computer-aided design, but also to be respectful of the existing fabric of the school. Next slide. And this is just an indication of what it might look like on the inside. This is the main classroom, if you will, the two-story space that is incorporated into the design. So that's pretty much the summary of what we're trying to do. So thank you for taking the time to look at it. Reagan, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, so that's basically the crux of the project. And, you know, we wanted to present it to you, see if you had any questions. But I think, I mean, those are the details, and I think it's pretty straightforward. And, you know, any thoughts anyone has, we're here to answer them.
Very good. I have one question up front. One of the new offices is for the head of the lower school. Is that right?
Yes.
Does the head of the current head of the lower school have no office now? Or if the head has an office and will move into this new office, what will happen to his old office or her old office?
I'll let Diane answer some of this, but just to say, there is an existing office and it's basically in the same location. We're just enlarging a little bit. But
Right,
Diane,
so-
maybe you want to.
Yep, so right at the entrance there, there's the lower school office, which is the administrative assistant's office, and then another office behind it, which is the current head of lower school's office. And they're just moving to the classroom that is on the other side of the office right now. So their current space will become part of the Center for Creativity and Design. I don't have the ability to move the mouse, but in that blue spot on the, yeah, right in there. So their offices are currently there now. They're just moving from one side, if you will, to the other.
Very
So
good,
Reagan,
thank you.
Just to interrupt, Reagan, can you just use your mouse and outline the addition? Because I don't think the addition is that whole second floor. The second
Correct.
story addition. Yeah, if you could just outline it with your mouse.
Yeah, it's pretty much
Right there.
this bump and then straight up, essentially. Right?
Okay, that's much clearer.
Yeah.
So some of that is
Yes,
internal renovation and the addition is on the right side.
right.
There's
correct.
a little bit of addition on the upper left-hand corner as part of the new school, lower school. So you saw that in one of the renderings. It's just a bump out there.
Yeah, I can jump to that real quick. So this is the existing view from kind of the middle of the campus, looking up at, you know, the upper second story. And there's a little bump out right here. And so it's here, and then it ties right in to this existing roof line right here. So it's about, you know, this tiny little kind of where this tree and this lawn area is, a little bit of a bump out there. So that's the only actually increase in footprint. Otherwise, it's all within the existing footprint on the roof.
Okay, I'm good. All set, Karina? I'll open it up to the planning board. Mr. Mills. Questions, comments?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. You know, typically when we look at projects like this, we look at, you know, traffic patterns and things like that. So I'll be very direct and candid. So there's no, with what you're doing, it doesn't look like there's going to be any significant increase to, say, the day student population that's going to increase traffic trips or anything on Middle Road or drop-offs on Route 30, or any additional staff increase to accommodate this that would be significant that residents would be worried about on the roads, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
That was my only question. Otherwise, it
Okay.
looks great. You know, I can totally see why they're doing this. I love in the drawings how you had all the kids with ties on and dressed appropriately for the school. And I think it'd be a great addition for the school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stein?
Hi, good evening. Thanks for the presentation. Have you obtained building permits yet from our building department?
No, our
No.
intention is to, we wanted to get your input first. And our intention is in late February to go directly to the building inspector and apply for a permit. There's a little bit of other work we're doing on campus. We're putting a new handicap accessible elevator in and renovating some dormitory rooms. So we will probably be going for both permits at the same time. Those are all completely internal.
Have you notified any of the residential abutters, non-Fay affiliated, just, residents of the town that live on Middle Road, Main Street, et cetera, who would be impacted by the construction? Has there been any notification of the abutters to the project?
We have not at this point. No abutter notifications, but it's certainly something that could be done prior to construction. Upon obtaining a building permit, I would assume we could do that.
And what's your expected start date of the actual work?
We're hoping June. And obviously try to get it done as quickly as possible. All subject to COVID issues. There's some issues of construction these days, but I think we're okay right now.
So, it looks like a pretty substantial project in terms of, materials and heavy, the need for heavy equipment, et cetera. I guess my question is for the town planner. How is this exempt from site plan, the usual permitting process, site plan review and lower impact development?
Well, I think in this case, the illustration you see in front of you, right? So it's a little bit misleading in the fact that you see this, what appears to be a big addition on your screen there on the right. That lower half of the building is already there. What they're adding is to the top of that. And albeit as an expansion to the structure, there is no net gain of parking required because they're not adding staff, they're not adding faculty, they're switching out they're moving office space from one place to another. And in fact, I think Regan had mentioned that they're eliminating one classroom that's located somewhere else outside of that addition. So
Are they not adding square footage?
If I might add, the total new square footage, that is the second story addition, is 3,961 square feet. We went over that, just to restate that again, it's not a very large new addition, although as the town planner said, it is on top of the existing building.
right, and because it wasn't expanding in a horizontal fashion, that it was vertical on top of an existing structure going up, that the parts of the project that would be crucial is in the building permit portion of the permitting for this project, because that's where the building code kicks in. I see what you're saying. I understand that the site plan does talk about expansion of use and additional parking required. But I don't think, and I spoke with Lori Lavoli about this as well, that there is no additional parking spaces required for what they're proposing there.
Is there not also an addition to the lower school though, as part of this project?
It's very small. It's about, a couple hundred square feet. I don't have the exact figure. I can get it for you, but it's a very small bump out. It's effectively the space of two offices. Each one is maybe 10 by 12. So yeah, 200 roughly square feet, maybe slightly larger.
So between the two, it's about 4,100 and change additional square footage.
No, I think our project numbers of 3,961 also includes the addition to the lower school.
Oh, okay.
Total, That's not in addition to the numbers we presented.
I have no more questions for now. Thank you.
If I may, just to also ease your mind, Mr. Stein, the criteria for site plan approval, there's 5 thresholds for that that would trigger either a minor or major. And this particular project doesn't trigger any of those thresholds. You know, one is if there's an increase in on-site parking, which we're not doing. It talks about modifications to an existing development project which fall within the applicability of the town's regulations for parking and loading or landscaping, which we don't trigger either of those. There's no change in the use. It's not multifamily housing for the elderly, and it's not adaptive reuse of a historic building. So those are the 5 thresholds that we actually don't trigger any of them. So.
Mrs. Luttrell.
Thank you. It's like a nice project. I don't, are those solar panels on top of the new addition?
Yes, we're hoping to do that.
Very nice. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Houlihan.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time to introduce us to this project, and it looks fantastic. The Face School is a really beautiful campus, and I think this will be additive. So good luck with the project.
Thank you.
So having gone through that and learning through the town planner that the building inspector does not think that this project triggers site plan, and I happen to agree with that. Sounds like the rest of the board does. So what I'll do is, I don't know if we need a motion, but I think the record would show that we looked at the project that was presented to us. The code was referenced in several instances, and I think I'll just go through the board members and see if we agree that this project does not trigger site plan. And that would be my opinion. Mr. Mills?
I agree. It would not need site plan.
Mr. Stein?
Yeah, I agree.
And Mrs. Luttrell?
Yes, I agree, due to the fact that there's no increase in on-street parking.
And Mrs. Houlihan?
Yes, agree.
So the record will show that, our meeting minutes will reflect that, and through the town planner will probably send an email to the building inspector saying that you're good to go relative to any more requirements to the planning board or from the planning board. Does that sound good?
Thank you very much. Thank you all
That's
for your
great.
time this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck
Thanks
with it.
for coming, Regan.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Nice and quiet. Thank you.
Whose dog is that?
Mine, sorry.
Oh, that's great. No, we welcome dogs. We welcome, and congratulations on your new name. Your
Thank you.
marriage.
I was trying so hard. I even wrote it down. I was like, don't botch this, but I did. Oh, well.
Takes a while.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Next item on the agenda is a discussion item, EDC, Downtown Initiative, bylaw status. Would that be you, Sarah?
That'd be me. So at their most recent meeting, the Board of Selectmen voted to move forward the draft. They are now titling this new district the Downtown District. That is going to be its name should it pass at town meeting. It was on the Dropbox, so hopefully everybody had an opportunity to take a look at it. No real substantial changes from the joint meetings, except for the fact that the affordable component has definitely been kind of dialed back to the original language, which is just the kind of the bare minimum 40B requirements. So that is 8 units and 12, 0.5% of those units being affordable. So it will come before the board formally once we start the public hearings. We were going to originally start those, in February at our first meeting, but since the annual town meeting got pushed back, it sounds like we'll be moving those back as well.
And I think, Sarah, we might start gearing up for the 22nd of February, possibly.
22nd.
I think that's the target right now. Let's start those
Perfect.
public hearings.
Any questions or comments on the EDC bylaw
If I
status?
may, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Stein?
Yeah, I just want to mention that the changes to the affordable housing requirement probably will not allow me to support the article in its form. I supported and endorsed the language that we discussed before, and this change makes it so that I cannot support the article. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, just a question on the hearing process. Since we know that the town meeting isn't happening in March, but there has been no date certain set. Is there any length of time that the hearing needs to be closed at? Like, we usually leave the hearing running through town meeting. Can we leave it open for a couple of months, perhaps?
Yeah, that's what we did last year. We opened the hearing and it stayed open for months.
Okay.
I also want to point out that at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, they also indicated that they want to send the warrant to the printer by April 20th. So it would be good. I mean, the planning board public hearings can also run beyond that. And any changes to the bylaw to the draft bylaw at that point would have to be amended on the floor. But the goal would be, hopefully, if we get this started in late February with 3 meetings to go before then, maybe there's always optimism that you can get all the language in order before then. But that was the next milestone, was April 20th, to have the language solidified so that the warrant can go to print.
Yeah, and if our agenda is such that we're able to carry it, for weeks and months, then that's what we do. It gives the public a long time to look at it and comment, which sometimes we hear, people say it was only open for comment for, 1 meeting or 2. This would be multiple, which is what we do. Of course.
And it may give an opportunity to, revisit the affordable housing component, which is on a lot of people's minds.
Any more questions, comments on this discussion item? Anyone from the public?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the planner's report, the warrant article schedule.
Yeah, just quickly, I kind of said it all just now, but at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, they had discussed, pushing out the town meeting to May or June, and with that threshold of April 20th for sending the warrant to the printers. So a letter was sent out, a memo was sent out from the town moderator explaining that. And I think I forwarded that to all the planning board members so you could see the language firsthand. And that's all I have for the planner's report. We will be targeting February 22nd to start those planning board public hearings for the four warrant articles. So that's it for the planner's report this evening.
Okay, thanks. Any questions, comments? Next item is the approval of the meeting minutes, January 11th.
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from January 11th, 2021 as written.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Thank you. Next item is our next meeting is February 8th. And then there's one item that's not on the agenda because it is more just an information piece that has evolved since we submitted the agenda. And that is there is a court case in Worcester Superior Court regarding the Park Central project and the Zoning Board of Appeals, both Capital Group Properties and the Southborough Zoning Board of Appeals are defendants in that trial. I think if you go to the Southborough, My Southborough, they provide a link for you to join the Zoom trial, just like we're having this meeting tonight. You know, that's one of these squares is the judge. Some of the squares are the defendants and the witnesses. And also to let you know that I received a subpoena to appear in that court by Zoom and be available for February 1st. So just letting you know and the public know that your planning board member and chair will be. I watched the first 2 days of the trial, but I was just watching it. Now I've been subpoenaed and maybe called to testify. Anything else? Any questions or comments?
Is this the trial on the comprehensive permit or on the site plan?
From what I understand, from watching it, it seems like it's covering both. It seems like that there was quite a bit of discussion about the merits of the project so far, but I think when the plaintiffs present their case, which could start on Monday, the February 1st, it'll focus more on the actions of the ZBA in the process. I've been called as a witness, but I don't know that much about the lawsuit was brought by the neighbors, and I'm not one of them. So I'm just I think I'm being asked to testify connected with not many, but the several letters that the planning board sent to the ZBA, to conservation. The most recent letter we sent was just in 2020. So it's my understanding I'll be testifying regarding the contents of those public letters that the planning board sent and that as the chair I signed. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's my understanding. Anything else? Any questions or comments? Mr. Mills.
Yeah, I had a question. Karina and I had spoken after I'd signed I think it was an A&R. Oh no, it was one of the other plans. And I had forwarded some pictures. I was over at Starbucks a couple weeks ago, and it appears that people are still cutting through from the office building into the Starbucks parking lot because the curb was never raised, and you can see clear tire tracks going right over the grass from the parking lot with the office building into the Starbucks, Cold Stone Creamery, Tomaso area.
Yeah, I think it's
And, I didn't know-
144 to 154 Turnpike.
I didn't know, Karina, if you followed up with the owners of those properties at all, or had time to. I know it wasn't on the agenda, but I was just curious. I wanted to bring it to light to the rest of the planning board, that I had noticed that, and maybe you want to take a peek at it. I sent a picture
Yeah.
to Karina.
I have a picture of it and we can put that up on the Dropbox. But what I'll do is I'm going to talk to the building commissioner tomorrow on several other things. So I have kind of a checklist of things to discuss with her. So I will brief her on that. And then I'll also discuss how to approach the owner of the property the best way. And, you know, if she's the one who should do it, or if I should reach out first, and that he should follow up with the building commissioner. So we will let the owner know either tomorrow or the next day, most likely tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Were removed to put that original cut through, and they were supposed to be replanted, but never were. So I don't think that site plan's ever been brought back into compliance.
No, if you recall, they came, I think it was last year, with a modification, and they decided to withdraw the applications and put the landscaping, at least, you know, the grass portion of it back there. And I think for a while they had some barriers there for traffic not to cut through, but in the photograph that I've seen, it's apparent that it's very easy for traffic to just ride right over that landscaping.
Right, I thought that they agreed to replant the trees that they took down.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Which makes it more difficult to drive over it if there are trees there.
All right, I'll put that in my notes and we will.
Again, my point was really to let the whole planning board
Thank
know
you.
that I noticed that, and that I talked to Karina about it.
Yeah. I got it on the list.
So
Thank you,
therefore,
Andrew.
they've been out of compliance the entire time and are probably liable for per diem fines. Would they not be?
If the building department has that leverage, or if they have that ability to do that. The planning department, I don't believe, has the ability to fine them. I think we looked at this last time. So what I'll do is I'll get on it with Lori and see what the scoop is, and then I'll report back to the planning board members in an email, just to give you an update. And then if need be, we can call them into a planning board meeting to explain why they haven't complied.
Sounds good.
If that's,
Any, anything else on this or anything else? Because we still have a couple of hours to go.
No,
Well, we can always thank, our regular attendees, Tim and Sam, for attending and keeping us honest. I did notice them in the waiting, or, as participants. It's always great that we have fans. So thank you guys for attending, even though we're not in person.
May the record show I did not jinx the meeting.
thank you, Mimi.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, with one
Motions.
discussion. That was the shortest planners report in the history of certainly my tenure on this board. Karina, amazing job. Thank you.
oh, good. Is that a good thing?
Absolutely. And I
Okay.
second the motion to adjourn. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion, any more discussion? Like what Kate might be gonna do with the rest of her night?
I know. Like, these are going to be short minutes, you guys.
Okay,
Short
that's okay
meeting.
with me.
I know. It's like
Vote.
pages.
So 46 minutes, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes?
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes?
Latrell, yes?
And Houlihan is a yes.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you,
Good
Sarah.
night, all.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Everyone looks so happy.
That's right.
Thanks, Sarah, Kate,
Thank
John,
you.
Mimi, thank you.
Take care.